My wife texted me the night before our wedding, "Please don't wear your uniform to our wedding. Don't disgrace me, please." I stared at those words, stone still. After 30 years of service, 4 stars on my shoulder, and a chest full of ribbons and medals, sacrifices, scars, lives saved and lost, she saw only the uniform, and called it shame. Eliza loved the Admiral she could present at embassy dinners, not the soldier forged in places most people can't pronounce. She wanted the honor, not the stories behind it, the discipline, not the ghosts. But I've learned you don't choose which parts of yourself to bring to the fight. You show up whole, or not at all. So I put on my dress whites, straightened my back, and walked out anyway. My brothers were already there, men who'd followed me through fire and hell, standing quietly behind those heavy chapel doors. No invitation needed. These were the men who'd crawled through razor wire, bled, and trusted me with their lives. Brotherhood like that doesn't fade with time or distance. That as I stepped inside the chapel, 200 SEALs and Marines stood at attention. The thunder of boots on the floor filled the air, and Master Chief Lane's voice rang out, "Admiral on deck." Not because they had to, but because they understood what those stars meant. It wasn't just ceremony. It was survival. It was love forged in fire. It was family, chosen, not born. At the altar, Eliza's face was a mix of shock and shame. She'd wanted a wedding, not a military ceremony, a groom, not a warrior. But you can't love half a person and expect the rest to disappear. Our vows felt like a negotiation. I promised to honor, not just love. She promised to try to understand, not just accept. Even then, I wondered if we were making promises we couldn't keep. The reception was a masterpiece of elegance and awkwardness. My men, in their uniforms, tried to mingle with tech execs and politicians. Eliza's world, neat and polished, didn't know what to do with men who spoke the language of sacrifice. I stepped outside to breathe, and she found me there. I didn't expect them to stand, she whispered, finally understanding the meaning of that moment. They stood for survival. I told her, for trust, for coming home alive. She took my hand and apologized. I was scared. "I love you, Alden. I just don't know if it's enough." I squeezed her hand. Maybe understanding can grow into something stronger. Maybe it will. I have too. 3 days into our honeymoon, a photo arrived from my cousin, the chapel parking lot. During the ceremony, in the distance, my father, Commander Gerald Mercer, stood alone in his dress blues, watching from afar. 30 years of silence. Never once a word of pride. But he came, even if he couldn't step inside. Later, a letter arrived. "You became the leader I never could be. You earned the kind of loyalty that comes from love, not fear. I should have said I was proud of you years ago. I'm sorry it took me this long." Those words weighed more than any medal. Weeks later, at the Pentagon, I was asked to lead a new ethics and leadership program teaching young officers that true command isn't about fear or obedience, but about trust, respect, and bringing your people home alive. One cadet approached me after class, introducing himself as the son of a man I'd dragged from a burning Humvee 20 years ago. His father survived, raised a family, lived a life. He told me, "You were the kind of leader who'd die for his men. That's the kind of officer I want to be." That's legacy. Not medals, but lives. Ripples that reach farther than you'll ever see. A year later, standing on stage at the Pentagon to accept an award, I spotted my father at the back of the room. For the first time, he stood, brought his hand to his brow, and saluted me. Not because protocol demanded it, but because he finally understood. Afterward, he shook my hand and said, "I'm proud of you, son. Sorry it took so long. Sometimes blood doesn't salute, but when it finally does, it's not about vindication or pride, it's about being seen for who you are, and finally being honored for it."